Good evening and welcome to Gravel Trap Legends Monday nights. This is the BMW M1. Trust me, I'm a pro. This evening I'm Tim Lawson and with me is Neil Haynes. Good evening, Neil.
Good evening, Tim. Looking forward to this race tonight.
It's going to be an absolute cracker. We're at Jerez Classic 1988 track version. And if I can quickly find the track map, we'll pull that up here, so we can all take a quick look at it. So the track was opened in 1988. Tonight's race is actually dated the 29th of July 1979, and officially the track wasn't open then. But the track is now officially called the Circuito de Jerez Angel Nido. It is 4.428 kilometres long, or 2.75 mile in the old school. And like I said, it was officially opened on the 8th of December 1985, and the Formula 1 raced here right through till 1991 when they moved to Barcelona. So 16 corners all up, and it's like a baby version of Interlagos. We've got a couple of little chicanes, a couple of hairpins, a few corners tighten up on themselves. It's going to be a real challenge for these drivers. And we'll take a quick flip over to the target table. So for the BMW M1 Pro Series, they're running a target timetable. So they are calculating their pole lap and they're adding their qualifying times together. And so far, after 4 rounds, or 3, actually we've had 3 rounds but 4 races, because round 1 was a double race at Monaco. And we had breaking news this week, Neil, that the leading point scorer for the championship can also, or will not be available to take out the target total.
Yes, I did read that. So I believe currently we've got Brett, who we're seeing on our screens.
Yep, and the exciting thing here is Brett is only 6/10 ahead of DDF, and we've just seen DDF has just gone fastest here. And if I take a look at Brett, so at the moment there's, 3 100ths of a second between them. Not much. But that does add a little bit of spice to 4th, 5th and 6th, who are all sitting within 7/10 of each other. And there are 4 rounds, or 3 rounds to go. So the target table is certainly going to be a talking point over the next few rounds, and the guys have been discussing how to get some speed out of these cars. Neil, would you like to talk us through the style that these guys have come up with to find some pace on this track?
Most definitely. We can sort of see what's going on here with DDF at the moment. They've decided, obviously, after the first 3 rounds, with many of kilometres now behind them, they've actually found obviously the best way to extract a lot of speed out of the M1 Pro cars is basically what we're seeing here, this drifting style of driving of the car with a good slip angle. As they obviously there is a big wing on these cars, but it's just there mainly for show. It wasn't giving them that much downforce, maybe a little bit exaggerated to what you would see on the real life of the M1 Pro cars, but it's a lot of steering input, even in the real cars, was needed to get a good lap time out of these M1 Pro cars. So the guys down further of the grid, people like G-Dude, Rangy Rover and Mark, even No Frills, those guys there are more used to driving a lot more straighter in the car. And I think, as we can all agree, the classic old days in Bathurst, Tim, seeing the old Falcons and the Monaros and even the Tiranas all like sideways through the dipper and drifting through some of the corners back in the day when they weren't having the aero as well. So it's definitely the way to go, but it is very tricky to keep that up over a 40-minute stint as well for some of the drivers. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes that on board and makes the most out of the cars. And definitely you can see that there's not much in the top 4 at the moment, less than a second. We could even say the top 5, with Darren 1 second actually off DDF at this stage, Tim.
Yes, I'm sort of surprised to see DJM sitting in 5th. He was the pace setter early in the week, on the time trials at least. But after discussions... Oh, sorry, Neil. The discussion today was the driving style. And DDF made comment that he changed his driving style to suit that of DJM and found 3 seconds a lap.
That was exactly what I was going to say. He basically looked at Darren's setup and he was looping it through every corner, spinning it out, could not handle the car, trying to keep it to the straight line that DDF is used to and preserving the tyres. And as soon as he started to let it hang out a little bit like we're seeing Darren do here on our screens, you can see that the proof is there. DDF with a 147.138 on top of the timesheets, and you know, he was struggling to even get below the 50s earlier when he was doing practice.
So for everyone watching out there, we are watching the BMW M1 Pro Series for Gravel Trap Legends on Auto Mobilista 2. So the BMW M1 was originally released in 1978, I think, before they started racing them in 1979. I did do a little bit of research to have a look at the horsepower that these cars produce. And Neil, to put this into perspective, it would have been a LC Tirana with a 351 shoehorned into the front of it. The sheer torque of these cars was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, definitely, and that's also probably why we're seeing them very loose and agile as well at the same time with this slip angle of this driving style of these cars, just managing that power output, trying to get it all on the tarmac is so hard. As DJM just takes the top of the timesheets with a 47.026, Tim. Absolutely sensational lap. Only 3.5 minutes to go. Will there be a response from any of the top three? Especially it'll be interesting to see what Brett can do as we see him coming on through on his time lap. So we'll stay with him and see what he can do in his sectors. He's actually half a second down out of sector 1. It may not happen this lap, but the next lap we may see something from Brett.
And I did sneak out for a few laps on the weekend, Neil, and I can confirm there is 3 to 4 tenths in the first 2 corners if you can hang the car sideways. It was absolutely unpredicted. I cannot drive the car like that lap after lap for 45 minutes, but I can see where the guys are talking about how they're getting pace out of these cars.
Sensational, and I had the great opportunity to drive around here for the big shakedown last Wednesday night, and I absolutely had a blast in these M1 Pro cars. I tell you what, if you haven't given them a go in the game, or you find that they are a little bit of a handful, as we've just said, these guys have now, this is the 4th round of the series. It's taken them up to like 4 weeks basically just to get to grips to these cars, and absolutely killing the leaderboards as well in time trials at the moment. So it does take time to get used to the style of racing that we've sort of discussed, but they're such a good fun car, just drifting them through sideways and holding onto a nice slide. It's nothing better.
And for anyone who's enjoying the stream and think has Auto Mobilista 2, you can find Gravel Trap Legends on Discord. You can jump in Wednesday nights. Shakedown League is an open league. There's no registration for that, just come along. They run on the Wednesdays prior to our Monday nights. So it's a prelude and a warm-up for the pros coming through. As Neil mentioned, last Wednesday the Shakedown League ran this track in the M1s.
Yeah, strongly suggest if you want to come and join Gravel Trap Legends, have a look at the Wednesday night, make yourself free. It's not as long a race either, a little bit more relaxed as well, and also get some great feedback for some of the faster drivers that actually do join in the shakedown to also share their wisdom and give you some confidence in the way to drive some of these cars. So yes, Tim, it's a great organised league here, Gravel Trap Legends. Find them on Discord, have a search, and as we're having a look at Brett, he's 2 tenths down. Not much time left in qualifying.
He's just enough time to scrape in one more lap, I think, Neil.
He'd be cutting it fine. He sure will get another lap. Just depends how he's on fuel level and also the tyre conditions.
Coming down through Ferrari. So this is the last hairpin Jakudos. Turn 16 onto the start-finish line, so he'll just scrape in for a final lap.
And it's actually a corner where cars can go 2x2, funny enough, through that hairpin, because there is a few different lines. Oh, he's only just missed out, Tim. 0.055 of the second out came up on the board, but that doesn't actually register where he ended up finishing there on the screen of ours. So maybe it was actually an invalidated lap, maybe. As qualifying is over, so there's only a few cars left on track. They're all coming in fairly. Wow, have a look at that, Tim. How did Mark find himself up there? Have a look at the track map of the arrow. He's up there in the hills. He's probably got the best view of the circuit as we speak.
I'm not too sure what he's done to get himself up there, but that.
He's found himself an Easter egg, as they call in the game. Look.
Yep, he's taken the escape route.
Yeah. And that's one of the... Oh, there he goes. He's returned back to the track. So, well done, Mark, for finding that little Easter egg hunt here at Jerez.
Okay.
And I'm sure that some of the guys may know as well, even if you're in part of the Riser forums, that there are a few little secret ways out of the circuit to get to these vantage points too. So you have a look around sometimes when you're just having some fun in the game, and maybe go around the back of the pits or find a little road and see where it may lead you.
Right, so qualifying is over. DJM is sitting on top, but it certainly hasn't got the commanding lead that he's had in the previous rounds.
No, not at all. So DDF is really on his tail, as is Brett. And Dino, what a good run from him into fourth position. He's actually been coming on strong the last few rounds as well. As is Cuckoo, we've always mentioned. Cuckoo's probably the commentator's favourite driver, I'd say, Tim. He's just Mr. Consistency, isn't he?
And Cuckoo and Esky have been having some fantastic battles throughout this series. And we expect nothing but the same here tonight, Neil. It's going to be an absolute cracker. This race will be 45 minutes flat from a standing start. And we just roll down through. So after Cuckoo and Esky, we've got Woodsy and Bloody Nine, No Frills and John Slow. And then
John. Sorry, I was just going to mention John Slow is in that mid pack. He's been having a rotten time of lately, but hopefully he can get himself going. As we were just saying there, John, someone's just quit out, I think. John's moved up to ninth.
Just having a quick look through. Everyone looks like they're still there.
Yeah, anyway. Sorry, and then Travis Moon in 10th. Sorry, Tim, to cut you off there. I was just mentioning John Slow, but Kiz in 11th. Mark 860. Stu in 13th. Rangy Rover 14th. G Dude in 15th. Dat Boy 16th. Pixel Boy in 17th. And Max Power in 18th.
And the guys are racing. We are off and running in Jerez Classic 1988 BMW M1. Trust me, I'm a pro with Gravel Trap Legends. Well, a couple of cars off the track now. There is a virtual safety car for these guys if someone feels that they have been unfairly compromised. They can call a virtual safety car.
Look at that, No Frills. He won't be happy about that. He had a nice qualifying position, and it does look like that they are called the safety car there, Tim, as all the cars are now slowing down.
Guys are grouped up behind the lead car.
Oh, and John Slow, who will just mention he has rotten luck in the midfield pack, so that's the commentator's curse. He found himself in 9th in qualifying, and both him and No Frills, we saw it on our screens, got tangled up.
And
Neil, hopefully those guys can get into the pits and get out and get amongst it again.
Our telemetry is only showing 15 cars, Neil. Have we lost a couple, or are we having a glitch?
Got 18
cars? Alright.
Yeah, you might just have to move your mouse maybe down or something. It's okay. Oh, you only show 16, I think.
It's flicking, it's just been having a bit of a moment, that's all. Rightio. So we had John Slow and No Frills involved in an incident in turn 1. The guys are under a virtual safety car, just waiting for the damaged cars to make it around to the pits before the race director allows them to recommence racing. So
can I just mention too, Tim, as well, I don't know if you've still got it, but I think you've got an option to put hide UI up on the top right of your screen.
Oh, sorry, yes I can.
You have got that. If you press that, it'll get rid of the exit sign. Only hit the hide UI, don't hit exit.
Yep, no, I managed that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so it looks like we're about to restart this race again on lap 2. And DDF is the lead here on Darren, which is a good sign, and let's see what Darren can do.
Now, Darren was unfortunate last week. He did miss his pit box and burn out reverse, so he wasn't able to return to his pit box and lost 30 seconds navigating pit lane.
My elbows are out here. Is Brett going to have a look? No, he's not going to have a look. I just thought that Darren did have a look at DDF and got checked up a little bit, and it gave an opportunity for Brett to dive down the inside, but thought wiser as DDF wide on the exit out of turn 6. And it's all happening here behind Brett. It's with Dino and Cuckoo as well, looking to get an early move done early in this race.
The cars are still tightly packed. There's not much in this pack at the moment.
And it's a good welcome back to Mr. Woodsy as well. He's in the second of the Bluth car.
So for anyone who hasn't watched the stream so far, there is a custom livery pack for this series, and the liveries were major or famous cars from movies from the 70s and 80s. So as we can see, Speed Racer and the Fast and the Furious liveries there running through.
Yeah, nice little move there. Or defension. I'm not too sure who was making what move on who there, but G-Dude in front of
Stu.
Well, Stu. I thought Stu used to be in the he looks like he's in a different car tonight though. That threw me around.
Yes, he has changed liveries for this series.
He was in the Jurassic Park car for the first opening 3 rounds, but here he is trying to get around the outside, Stu. This is a big move because he'll have the inside run in for the next corner. Will we see... Oh, come on, cameraman. Yes, he has made that move. Stick, so well done to Stu. Move up to 11th. Oh! As soon as he does that, he just puts it into the wall, and that's a big moment for Stu.
That is the commentator's curse for sure there, Neil.
Oh, if there's ever one, I tell you what, I need to start zipping my lips, Tim, because I don't want to see that affecting some of these drivers who's been having rotten luck throughout this series. But one man that has been keeping it nice and clean and just driving to his abilities every week is this Max Power in the Scooby Snacks car. Probably one of the colourful cars on the grid, and done up really well too by the boys here at Gravel Trap Legends, as he's also chasing down Lightning McQueen, as we all know from the Cars movies. But back up front here for second position, it's all going here. Brett's made the move on DDF, and Dino's getting a little bit edgy as well, and wants to try and make a move for position 3.
Sorry, Neil. I've got sustainable food this evening. Stu sent me some presents through the mail, so I'm madly eating a biscuit.
Lovely, yes, and I've been sucking down on a Chumpa Chump lollipop as well. That Stu was very kindful to send as a microphone, I could imagine. So thank you, Stu, for all those nice little gifts to keep us going here in the commentary booth. We all like to munch on a little bit of a sweet treat every now and then.
Yes, I can do the old Kojak moment with my chopper chop a little bit later on. But it looks like DJM has a commanding lead at the moment with over a second. As we see Stu's made it back into the pits.
Yeah, he's made it back into the pits, which is good. And back here with Cuckoo in 5th position. He's just dropped off the back of Dino. And in the clutches of Woodsy and Travis Moon. Travis Moan, sorry. Get the glasses on.
And looked like John Slow's on the hunt after an early pit stop.
Yeah, he's coming back through the field, which is good. The 13th position, coming up to G-Dude. Here he is, the Ghostbuster machine. And wow, he's almost a second up in Sector 2 from his best time so far in this race.
And for anyone who's enjoying the stream, you can get some in-car perspective. John Slow is one of our YouTubers. He'll have a live feed going this evening from his perspective inside the car. And also DDF, so D-Finny. DDF also has his own YouTube channel. He'll be streaming his perspective from inside his car, currently running in 3rd.
It's starting to get a little bit tight up here. It looks like Darren's has made a mistake because he did have a 3-second lead earlier. And the leading Bluth car is actually now getting under the clutches of Brett, who's actually found some late pace now. All the boys are doing 47s in 2nd, 3rd and 4th previous lap compared to Darren's 48. So keep an eye on that, Tim, just to see if there is a little problem maybe in Darren's car. As we know, mechanical failures are on in this series, so maybe he's done some damage early on in the race, which is uncharacteristic from Darren.
But as we mentioned, Neil, there, to slide these cars into the corner, the power slide on these cars is 2 to 3 tenths per corner. So around about 2 to 2.5 seconds per lap. So if you get the car a little bit too straight, it is easy to drop half a second or a second. But we can also see Dino right coming up onto the back of DDF. So 3rd and 4th having quite a battle here. But Woodsy's on the back of Travis Moan. And it looks like
going on here.
Good cluster of cars around the track competing for space.
Yeah, we'll have to keep a little eye on this up at the front as well, because there's nothing much in it. But we'll just keep an eye here to see if
we've got a yellow
Travis
flag at the back.
We've got no frills coming up to that area as that yellow flag has been removed. And we've lost one car, so we're down to 17, Tim. So maybe someone has disconnected there, and I can confirm that it looks like it is John Slow. So the man that's just doesn't seem to have any luck on his side here in the M1 Pro cars, just continue his rotten luck.
But we've got a big shout out to Max Power running at 14th. And only 2 seconds on the back of Pixel Boy. So after someone who was struggled in round 1, has certainly started to find a little bit of pace coming into mid-season.
Now these two as well battling out for the lead. Darren currently leading the championship over Brett by only a handful of points as well. I believe it's only 5 points the difference between the two. So this is going to be very interesting to see what transpires. We've actually just over 10 minutes into this race with 34 minutes remaining. And are we believing that there's going to be pit stops tonight at all? I haven't sort of kept in the loop with the chat there, but...
So there is no mandatory pit stop, but where there is accelerated fuel burn and the cars can make it from start to finish without a stop, But the way that these guys are throwing the cars around, the tyre life would be questionable come in the last 10 minutes. So it will be a consideration, but DDF, currently running in third, has an astronomical ability to run a car down to fumes. He's shown in previous series that he can run up to over an hour without doing a pit stop. So there could be strategy at play here, Neil.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see it all come out. And look, unfortunately, we've given the commentator's curse to this man, Max Power. He was up next to Pixel Boy. He's dropped a ton of time. He's obviously had an off somewhere. He's running on his own at the moment. He dropped roughly, 40 seconds off the back of
and a bit of damage.
Boy, and that basically explains that he's lost the front spoiler of this BMW. That's unfortunate, and the bonnet as well.
That's cooling, Neil. That is prevent the car from overheating.
As we're just, cameraman is trying to pick up this little battle between the fan favourite of Cuckoo and Travis Moan. Got the Blues Brothers machine over the top of, at the moment, of Travis Moan of Back to the Future, a DeLorean car. Maybe that's what he needs to do, Tim. Go to the future and find out what Darren's secrets are, and see if he can spice up his car a little bit. Come back to the future, come back to the past, I should say, and see if he can take victory in one of these races. There's a battered up Stu just waiting to come out of the pit lane. As Max Power is into the pit lane as well. So the pit lane's getting a lot of action at the moment, and as is Range Rover with Mark trying to dive down the inside of turn 1.
Mark had some early pace in the time trials. Not seeing it so much here in the race.
Yeah, it's all about probably just trying to find himself back into a little groove too. Running with the other cars as well around him at this moment.
So for everyone watching the stream, good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you like what you're looking at, then please follow our Twitch, find us on Facebook and like our page, and we'll be uploading this video to YouTube. So find us on YouTube, TVJP Sim Racing, and subscribe.
And make sure you do that subscribe thing on Tim's channel. There's plenty of good stuff coming your way in 2023. And you don't want to miss a thing.
So as much as I'd love to be out there racing, Neil, I've had an issue with my knee. It's preventing me from any competitive racing. But I've jumped on to Twitch to broadcast the races to keep the interest going, and I've been absolutely enjoying the experience. I'd like to thank Gravel Trap Legends for giving me the opportunity to broadcast their races, and to yourself,
Most
Neil,
definitely.
for jumping aboard with me.
Well, I've enjoyed the journey as well, Tim. It's always good to get back into the commentary as well. But how about we go on a lap around here of Jerez with Kiz in 11th position? And we may be able to run it through into turn 1 here, Tim.
Yeah, so turn 1 is referred to as Expo. Short little straight and then back down to second gear. Coming around turn 2 is referred to as Michelin. And then the opening left-hander. Around into turn 4. And then turn 5 tightens up. Turn 6 down into the chicane. This chicane was removed from the track after 1991. Oh, we see Dat Boy taking a loss there. Kiz continues on down to turn 9, dry sack.
Yeah, tight part of the circuit.
It catches you out that one. You don't expect it to be as tight. Turn 10's an open right left-hander, and then turn 11 is a sneaky little left-hander that gets tighter just after the ripple strip ends. Easy to drift wide there. Coming down.
Don't want to be caught out there. That was turn 12. Is that?
No, that was, yep, turn 12 and 13. So that was Angel Nido and Peliquad. This is Alex Graville. Turn 15 is Ferrari. Little short straight before you come down to the hairpin. Turn 16, Jakudos.
What a beautiful circuit Jerez is, isn't it? It's such a low in circuit as well. It's always a pleasure to drive around here, as we saw one of the guys, I think, who was it that actually was in the wall that we were following before. I'm not too sure who it was, but I think he may have retired because we've lost another one. Was it Pixel Boy? I know Pixel Boy's still there. And Dino, I was wondering what this car actually was, and it wasn't until we had the photo poster competition I realised this is from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's the old car. Obviously doesn't look like the old car, but old vintage car. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
But the chrome looks pretty spec. The reflections off the chrome.
Yeah, it looks really good. He's still chasing DDF at this moment, so he's definitely in a good position to try and grab a podium spot with plenty to go in this race. We're not even halfway through this run-in of this race.
I'm thinking DDF and Dino are slowing each other down. They've dropped off the pack from DJM and Brett.
Yeah, they have. Talking about this battle up front, we may just have to have another little look because they're doing an outstanding job. Back into the 47s. The previous lap you can see up on the board there were exactly the same time between Darren and Brett. But they're absolutely flying at this stage. The fastest cars are out on track. And I tell you, it may look easy. Definitely it is not easy to be running lap after lap with these cars drifting sideways at the same time. So credit to these two and everyone else through the field here on Monday Night League with Gravel Cup Legends, doing an outstanding job out on track. And you'd have to say we've seen some pretty good, mostly very clean racing right through the field, haven't we, throughout the first 3 rounds and into this 4th round.
You wouldn't have picked it, Neil. We actually went 2 races at Monaco without a safety car.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that was week 1. So round 1, these guys, fresh back from summer break, jumped into these things for the first time onto the streets of Monaco. Yeah.
They basically had their backs against the wall, you could almost say, and they actually delivered. And who would not forget the second round, Bruno Aries, with a battle between, I think it was Eski, Kiz and Cuckoo. Something around those guys, or No Frills. No Frills, I think, was actually involved in that battle for the minors in the podium, all race long.
And that was a 60-minute race too, Neil. And they ran toe to tail the entire time.
Yeah, they did. It was probably the highlight of the season so far. So you can go back to the YouTube channel that Tim was mentioning, and you should be able to see the replay of that race of round 2 as well. I don't think we have been able to keep the coverage of the Monaco race, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately I didn't have the YouTube channel.
Watch from round 2, and it's worth a watch to the enjoyment of that battle.
And also interesting to see the different style of driving the guys have commandeered for these cars as they've come through the last 3 or 4 rounds. And we can can see the T9 back in 14th has got some pace in his car after an early pit stop. But he's got some work to do to catch up, being a lap behind, I think it's a lap behind 13th place, no frills.
Yeah, it's going to be a long, lonely night for the bloody 9, but obviously trying to catch as many points as he can tonight.
And for the T9, he's running the Suki's livery from the Fast and the Furious. Oh, sorry, not the Fast and the Furious. It was,
Can't help you, my friend.
I was going to say this one wasn't called the Fast and the Furious, just had a different name to it. But I think it was the third movie from the chapter.
Yeah, so unfortunately too, it has been a hard night for the bloody 9. He struggled to even get into the sim rig tonight, and currently 5th in the championship. This round's going to really hurt him at this stage as well, because he's really fighting on to trying to get the back for a 3rd position. He was only 13 points off DDF in 3rd as well. So.
And we've got, Neil, we've got 8th place in the pits at the moment. We're 9th place now. Mark, 860, is doing his mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, for tyres by the looks of things, or maybe some fuel, we're not 100% sure, but yeah, he's been dropped off the blocks and off he goes again. And let's just try and have a look here. Pixel Boy is trying to, he's just run wide. And that's around turn 13. And he's had to give that corner up after No Frills was down the inside of him. Kicking up a bit of dust, throwing it over to Lightning McQueen. It's not the spirit of what Lightning McQueen would like to see. We'll wonder if he can come back and return serve later in this race. I'd be thinking Dino is obviously trying to get this position in front of DDF whenever he can, but he may be also happy just holding on to the back of DDF at the moment. He might feel himself comfortable at the moment and make a late move later on. As you can see, they're a lot slower on the times that they have been. That was 2 seconds slower than what they've been doing previously in the race. So I think you're right, Tim, that obviously DDF is struggling a little bit in that car and just slowing Dino, or they're both slowing each other down as they're fighting for position.
We're actually also seeing DJ and Brett have washed a little bit of speed off. We could now be looking at tyre wear. Neil, we have been running for 25 minutes now.
Oh, here's a moment, Tim. Oh, not quite. He couldn't keep it down, get it down the inside.
DDF got a bit wide and ran it out onto the grass, but managed to hold on to it. And that is the challenge of the slide style driving, being able to maintain that slide and hold it on the grey stuff.
Definitely. Good to see the old Fasters Australian Lager sign up there, the old Forsters. Changed to Fasters in the game, obviously used to need to do for licensing, I'd say, as well. No alcohol advertising here. Probably the premium export beer, Tim, because no one drinks it in Australia, and it's the only beer that we will let them export, I guess, to get it out of the country.
Oh, it's a bit like Corona. I mean, the Corona beer that you get in Mecca-Cole is not the same. We've got DDF has now jumped into the pits, doing his mandatory pit stop. Well. So strategies at play here.
Just remember too that the pit limit here is 150 kilometres an hour, so they're in and out fairly quick. So pit stop will not hurt. It's not a very long pit lane. Very easy entry into pit as well. So they don't lose much time. Just chuck on a new set of boots
But these,
As, he's up in 7th position at the moment. With Stu just running behind him, a number of laps down. As we've seen, he's had a tough night. He made a nice move early in the race that we captured, and then he put it straight back into the wall. Probably got maybe a little bit too excited at the same time.
he was just happy to hear me chewing on a biscuit. That's what it was.
I'd say so. He probably got distracted by it, actually. Just, I think he gets more pleasure just knowing that we enjoy the things that Stu provides for the league, and all the extra yards that he definitely does to make this league one of the most enjoyable leagues that you can have on a Monday night.
Jump on the stream. It's a great way to bury your Monday blues.
That's it. And that's another thing where you can see some of these drives, as you mentioned before. I was going to bring that up when you were saying, I think it was Mark, who was not really showing the pace that he was doing over the weekend when he was doing some practice. And it just also could be that he's had a hard day at work as well. And he's probably still enjoying the racing, being out on sim racing at the same time, as he's locked in a battle with Travis Moan here. And, is he's take too much of that curve? Is that unsettled the car? And Travis goes, thank you very much, and picks up an easy 8th position. But yeah, it could also be that too, Tim. You know, one would imagine he's, a bit fatigued or a little bit tired after your first day back at work for the week.
But it's a great way to relax after a heavy day at work, Neil. Jumping on the sim rig.
I cannot agree more. You can really just let all your worries left behind and really try and concentrate in a passion or a hobby that we all love.
And you don't need to spend thousands of dollars to get up and running in sim racing.
No, you don't. You can do it all. You can even start off, which most people I think do start, as we see a move here with DDF down on Woodsy after DDF has pitted and coming back through the field. But yeah, most people start off on consoles in some fashion with sim racing. May pick up a more of a arcadey type racer first and start to enjoy that sort of platform, and then start diving into the more sim orientated type games that can be on offer as DJM Darren's into the pit. So we'll see where DDF comes out, or we'll see where Brett comes out, because he was in second.
So Brett coming down now to turn 16 to Kudos, back around on the start finish line. So I think Brett is easily going to come out in front.
But yeah, most everyday PC too, home PCs will run Automobilista 2, and you can then pick yourself up as Brett has taken the lead, and can buy some second-hand equipment, steering wheel and things like that, or even buy some good mid-range steering wheels that might set you back around about the $800 mark, and you'll be up and running.
Yes, I've got a mate who's just changed over his G920, converted it over into a truck sim rig. So he's got the extended gear shift with the split lever on it for changing gears.
Nice.
I think the whole setup cost him around about $500.
There you go, and rocking down a highway with the Eagles, I guess, or a bit of country music on the truck simulator. And here we go, we're looking at Brett at the moment, getting away from trucks. This bloke here, he's trucking along really well, and almost we might see his fastest time of the race happening here. He was up in the first sector, and he's just not quite there. He's just 0.1 of a second. About 0.2 of a second actually off his fastest time in this race, so he's absolutely flying after his pit stop.
And the other battle like I'm looking at here is DDF is now pulled up onto the back of DJM.
Yeah, good one there. And DDF is really giving Darren a hard time here. And now, can we see the top three drivers actually put Darren in an unfamiliar position. He's not seen himself but off the podium so far.
Has been saying that he was feeling lonely out the front in the first couple of races, but that's certainly not the case now, as DDF gets the jump on DJM. So Darren's now slipped back to 4th. But there is also one other thing to consider. These cars don't come with tyre warmers. So Darren's first out lap, his tyres may still be coming up to temp, while DDF's had a couple of laps to get some pace up.
Excellent point there you brought to raise that, Tim. I'd totally forgotten about that. Yes, that could be those few laps it's going to take Darren to get that car back into operating window with those tyres. We know we don't like talking about tyres all the time, but sometimes that can be the difference between winning a race or basically losing it.
And it looks like Dino's going to give him a run for his money now. The chitty chitty bang bang is sliding up the inside.
What is Darren doing? That was a fairly easy let off to let Dino through. Is DJM actually set himself up for a little bit of excitement with 12 minutes remaining? Is he going to get the power on and see if he can power through the 4 cars in front of him to still take out this race? But I tell you what, he's going to find it hard. 12 seconds off the lead at this stage. That's a lot of time to make up when Brett was actually on his tail. So one maybe think that maybe he had a problem in his pit stop. Maybe the tyres didn't get changed and he's still on those old tyres. We're not too sure. Is he coming in? Here he is. He's coming in again. So obviously he's had an issue with his pit stop. And he's in again. So this is a big game changer for the championship, Tim.
The only other possibility, he didn't change tyres or he did not get fuel as requested. He could have been running low on fuel and having to ease it home to get back around to the pits. We'll have to find out later when we get back into the chat with the rest of the guys. But our leader now, Brett, has a 9-second gap over Cuckoo. And Cuckoo was about to have DDF all over the back of him.
Yeah, obviously the cameraman has had a little bit of a moment there, so we'll just get back on the roof, back on there. Little trick of the trade to get the cameraman's waking up. Go on the roof of the car and back on the track side. But here we go here. Cuckoo in the Blues Brothers car. All the power to him at the moment.
I'll just jump back into Discord, Neil. I'll see if I can find the points table.
Got it right here if you need something at the moment.
I'm just wondering what the space between DDF and DJM was.
You're looking at 12 points.
And if I go right back up to the top here, somewhere in amongst all this chat there was a points breakdown.
So at the moment we're looking to see also Dino come in onto the latch on here. So we're going to have a 3-car battle here for the second position on the podium. So hold on to your cup of tea and your bickies and enjoy this little last closing 10 minutes of this race as DDF is looking very racy actually in 3rd position. And he's gone around the outside of turn 1. That's a sensational move. Obviously you need 2 to tango there. Cuckoo obviously gave him a little bit of room to make sure that he wasn't going to put himself into a dicey situation that could ruin both cars' races, but now he's under the pump from Dino in the chitty chitty bang bang car.
And DDF is on the hunt, but he hasn't got time. He's not going to have time to catch Brett. But
no, he's not going to have time, but I think what he wanted to try and do is make sure that he can come home in second, because he doesn't want to push too hard and then make a mistake, because he looks like he can clear these two as they're battling hard.
Yeah, Cuckoo's going to lose a bit of time here because his rear vision mirror is filled with the nose of Dino.
Oh, It's getting very close here. Dino, the ever professional driver, will probably make sure he doesn't get his car in the wrong spot and cause an incident, but he may put a little bit of a rub mark here and there on the back of Cuckoo's car. As here he goes, he's got a little run down into turn 13 or turn 14. He's made that stick. Nice move by Dino. And having a cool level head, Tim, is definitely what is needed at this stage of the race. When they've been running for just over 38 minutes of race. And when they're in the heat of the battle as well. Try not to make any little mistakes.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussions after this race over tyre life. And I think that's what we're seeing most here, Neil, is the ability of who's salvaged the most out of their tyres and who's still got the most amount of traction left. Because I'm just looking at...
This one's going to be a one as well to keep an eye on. Travis Moan and Kiz at the moment. Travis Moan is looking like he's got some pace on board. The DeLorean. The Back to the Future car. Trying to get onto the back of Robocop's car of Kiz.
As we're seeing nearly most of the cars are running in the 150s now. You see DJM after his pit stop has rectified his tyre or fuel issue, whichever one it may have been. He's back to running 147 flat. Brett's also 147.2. DDF is the only... DDF and T9 are the only other ones running under a 150.
Yeah. And also, just to bring out a point there, I don't know if you can actually see down to 15th, but Stu has been slowly catching after being so far behind a car that he can actually try and make a position to be slowly catching the back of Max Power in the Scooby Snacks car. So you can just see Stu in the background here behind Travis Moan and the Kiz battle. So I'm assuming the next car that we will see, and you can see on the map there, the black and blue dot in front of these guys is obviously Max Power. So, and Stu behind the arrow. So there's not that far for Stu to go to try and latch onto the back of Max Power and maybe make a... Oh, as we talk, there's the commentator's curse. Stu way out and even further out, and he is finished into the barriers. Luckily the pit entry is just to the right of him.
And as we've been talking about all season, Neil, the clutch is only good for 2 or 3 starts. So you want to be careful coming off the grass. It's easy to burn out a gear or the clutch completely. So we've jumped on board DJM as we take right through the chicane. Coming down the back straight into turn 9 dry sack. And DJM on the hunt of Woodsy. Coming through turn 10 into turn 11.
Will we see any team favours done here? They're both in the same car. Don't the flames look good? We've commented about the flames before, with them shooting out of these big 8-inch exhausts. Maybe exaggerating saying 8-inch exhausts, but they look like they're big pipes there at the back.
And that's the advantage of fresh rubber. DJM slides up into 5th.
Into 5th in an unfamiliar position, but will he be able to chase down Cuckoo with 4 minutes remaining? He's got roughly 10 seconds and he's around about 3 seconds faster a lap, so it's going to be close. I think the time might run out on him. Cuckoo just needs to make sure he keeps it nice and Nice and straight. Well, not so straight. We were talking before that they liking to get these cars out sideways, but at least keep it on the black stuff. As this battle keeps raging here for the Robocop and the Back to the Future car of Travis Moan. And Kiz has got the upper hand in position 7th at the moment. As they're coming up to Max Power.
With 3 minutes to go, Kiz has been doing an outstanding job to hold Travis Moan behind. Kiz moves to the inside to block the racing line.
Yeah, it's a good run by Kiz. And not much more is happening on the field other than just keeping an eye on Darren's progress for the later stages of the race to get onto the back of Cuckoo. This is really where the battle is, as Travis Moan thinking around the outside. It's a long way around here, but it looks like he's made it stick because he's actually on the cleaner side of the track. Kiz would have found himself on the dirty side there, I believe, Tim.
Yes, and it's quite tight if you can't get it outside wide enough to open up the angle of that corner, so you would have had to come out of the power to get the car to turn around. So maybe a bad decision there.
Yeah, definitely. As we're just trying to find Brett or the cameraman to wake up, but here we are with Brett. With a minute and a half to go, this will probably more than likely see him take control of the championship too and be leading the championship into the penultimate round next week.
And I think from memory looking at it, it was Hockenheim next week.
Yeah, so it is. It's the Hockenheim, the classic version 2 through the forest with the chicanes. These cars will really be able to extend their 5th gear, as they're not really running 5th gear. Some cars may have just been touching 5th gear down the start straight here, but majority of them may have just geared them so they're maxing out in the 4th gear.
Yes, there was a couple of guys talking about the gear ratios. It's one of the biggest adjustments on these cars, being the car's original spec for 1979. I think there's almost 2 full clicks for ratios, so I think you can go from 4.9.
Look, he's in pit lane, Cuckoo. So that's brought DJM. So something's happened there right at the last minute. This is maybe for fuel. He looked like he's missed his bay as well. So that's given Darren a free run into 2nd position. Something that Brett will be dreading at the moment. He will be cursing Cuckoo for not putting enough fuel in that car. Every position further behind DJM is to Brett the ball advantage he will have in this run to the championship.
Time has run out, so this will be the final lap. Watching Brett now come around through turn 11 up into Angel Nido and through Pelliquire.
Well, sorry to just, I should have actually come, just quickly saw there, Woodsy's actually now under the pressure of Travis Moan. I'm just wondering, is Woodsy actually conserving fuel on this last lap as well? We had a 2-minute 3.
Yes, and I think that's just been a change of position looking at the track map there, Neil.
So here we are in the final corner for Brett. Well done to Brett, taking out round 4 of the BMW M1 Championship. Oh, trust me, I'm a pro.
So let's jump back onto Travis Moan, because we are looking at a very tight battle. No, there's obviously
made that move on Woodsy. So and we've missed that, unfortunately, guys.
Also got another battle going on, not for position, but a battle on track. And I'm thinking it might be G-Dude and Pixel. No, coming around through turn 11. We've got there 2 cars running together. I can't make out who it is.
Sorry about all the switching over there. It's,
There we go.
Stu trying to get max power, but that's not the position. But that could have been. It's probably what Stu will say. What could have been, because this is what we're thinking that may have happened at the end of the race if Stu didn't make the mistake just before pit entry about 10 minutes ago. But well done to max power.
Coming down into the final corner. Max holds on for 14th position.
Yeah, nice run there. Woodsy as well. He made it to the end. I thought that he may have been having some fuel issues there because he was slowing down and Travis Main got him very easily. But there we go with the stand-ins, with Brett taking victory over DDF. Dino in thirds. Well done to Dino. Picking up a podium. Also, I think that's his second podium of the series. Could be wrong. Might have had 3. Darren in 4th. Cuckoo in 5th with that late pit stop.
We've got to take our hats off to Brett because he also took out fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, with a 46.997 now. That is some going. And Travis Moan in 6th with Woodsy in 7th. Kiss 8th. Mark in 9th. Range Rover in 10th. G-Dude in 11th. Pixel Boy in 12th. The Bloody 9 in 13th. 14th Max Power, and 15th was Stu. What a run around Jerez we have just witnessed.
Right, I'm going to see if we can drag Brett into our chat. See if I can
Most definitely a well-deserved victor here at Jerez.
Good evening, Brett. Congratulations.
Hey guys, back again. I haven't done my media training this time, so...
2 in a row.
Yeah, it feels good.
Has to feel good. 2 from 2. Awesome run, Brett.
Had a bit of good luck with Darren because he pitted and he didn't get tyres, so he had to pit again for tyres. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah, he was going to struggle to get to you though, mate. You had about a 12-second lead on him at that time, but I tell you what, you set it up early in the race, just hounding the back of him after you made a move. I think you had to try and pass DDF, or was it DDF early in the race?
Yeah, I had to get past DDF, and then I caught up to Darren and sort of sat behind him for a while. I didn't think I'd be able to get past him anyway, but I'd see what happened at the pits like last time. And yeah, this time you had another problem.
But even with the pit stop, Brett, because I think you've pitted 2 or 3 laps earlier, and you came flying past, and we expected DJM to come straight out, but he was a good 10 seconds behind you after his first pit stop.
All right. I mean, maybe didn't take... he must have took more fuel than I did, because I almost filled it up and then only did enough fuel to cover me for the time that it takes to change the tyres.
Yeah, it may have just been that he didn't get the tyres on, and that's why we see that difference, I'm assuming.
Maybe.
And that's probably why, but yeah, great run there, Brett, and also took out the fastest lap, I think. What was it, Tim? What did we say?
146.997.
Sensational.
Nice.
Killing it.
It was good to watch, guys. How'd you find the race?
There was plenty of action. I could tell you behind you, Brett. I tell you what, you don't want to be in the mid-pack, so you have been able to click your heels and stay out of trouble, and that's what it's all about, to get good results. And I believe at this stage too, you will be leading the championship into the penultimate round next week at the Hockenheim Ring through the forests of Germany. I think that should be a good feeling of finally taking the lead of the championship from Darren.
Yeah, it looks like I'll be ahead of him now. I'm not sure where he's ended up, probably about 4th or 5th.
He should have been in 5th, but Cuckoo, I think, ran out of fuel near the end and had to pit, so you can probably blame Cuckoo for not being able to have a little bit more of a lead in the championship, because Cuckoo looked like he would have held on to that 4th position.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
That's racing. But congratulations, Brett.
Yep, well done.
Thanks, guys. I'll take a good look at your stream, and yes, hopefully it's a good one.
All right, thank you very much, Brett. We'll put you back to the chat. So there you have it, Neil. That is round 4 of the BMW M1 Trust Me, I'm a Pro series with Gravel Trap Legends. We hope you've all enjoyed the stream. I should change over that screen before we knock off. So if you've enjoyed it, guys, please follow our page. Look me up on Facebook. We'll be uploading this to YouTube, so TVJP Sim Racing on YouTube. Find the channel, click subscribe. We'd like to thank you for watching this evening. From me, Tim, it's goodbye.
From Neil, it is cheerio.
Until next Monday, catch ya.